Caroline Whitmore had always been the kind of woman people noticed, not just because of her beauty, though her golden hair and porcelain composure seemed borrowed from a portrait, but because she belonged to Charleston. Her name carried weight like the faint echo of old money whispered across verandas and charity galas. Her husband, Richard, was everything expected of a man in his position: polished, composed, powerful. He ran Whitmore Construction, the firm responsible for rebuilding half the city after the last hurricane. His handshake could charm senators and silence debtors. To the world, they were perfect, a dynasty in the making. But perfection has a sound. In the Whitmore mansion on Trad Street, it was silence. The kind of silence that followed every dinner, every carefully measured word, every polite kiss goodnight. Caroline used to fill that silence with purpose. Charity luncheons, museum boards, garden parties. It was at one of those events on a hot April afternoon that she met him. Eli Torres was adjusting the catering van's tire when she first saw him, sweat glinting at his temple, sleeves rolled up, his forearms dusted with grease. A former Marine, now a mechanic running a small garage on Meeting Street. He didn't belong at the kind of event where everyone's pearls matched their politics. Yet he looked at her not as Mrs. Whitmore, but as Caroline. Days later, when her Mercedes sputtered and died on a rainy evening, she didn't call her husband's driver. She called the number scribbled on the business card Eli had pressed into her hand, just in case. That was the beginning. At first, it was nothing. Coffee while he worked, light conversation, the smell of oil and leather replacing perfume and champagne. But each visit lingered longer. The laughter came easier, and for the first time in years, she felt seen. Their affair didn't ignite. It simmered. Long drives out past the marshlands, secret motel rooms that smelled of salt in summer storms, the taste of freedom heavy on her tongue. But Charleston is a small city with a long memory. Secrets travel faster than the tide. Richard knew. He didn't yell, didn't throw things. He just listened. When she spoke, his face didn't move, but his knuckles turned white against the glass he was holding. Then he smiled, a slow, chilling curve that made her blood run cold. "I hope he was worth it," he said, and left the room. She thought it was over, that he would file for divorce, destroy her socially, quietly. But Richard was not a man who believed in losing anything he considered his. He hired a private investigator, a discreet one from Columbia, who trailed her for weeks. Photos, recordings, receipts, every detail cataloged and boxed like evidence. Then one humid evening, he called Eli. Caroline didn't know until she saw Eli's truck parked outside the mansion. Her pulse quickened as she stepped into the sitting room. Richard was standing by the bar, sleeves rolled, a glass of bourbon in hand. "Caroline," he said, voice smooth, "you didn't tell me Eli here was such a gentleman. I thought it'd be polite to invite him for a drink." Eli's jaw tightened. "I don't think this is a good idea." "Nonsense." Richard poured another glass, the sound sharp in the silence. "We're all adults, aren't we?" For a moment, it was calm, too calm. Richard asked about Eli's service, his business, even complimented his truck. Then the mask cracked. "Tell me," Richard said quietly, "when you were with her, did she talk about me? Did she mention our bed? Our home?" Caroline's voice trembled. "Richard, please." "Did you touch her here?" he snapped, his hand slamming the bar. Eli stepped forward. "Enough. She doesn't belong to you." Richard's eyes darkened. "She always will." The argument erupted. Voices, glass shattering. Caroline screaming for them to stop. Then came the sound that would echo through her mind forever. A gunshot, sharp and final. Then another. When the police arrived, the Whitmore mansion was chaos. Blood on the marble floor, the scent of gunpowder mixing with bourbon and roses. Eli lay motionless, eyes open, a smear of red across his chest. Richard was slumped against the wall, pale, his hand still gripping the pistol. Caroline was the one who called 911, her voice fractured and thin. "Please," she kept saying. "Please, someone help." The trial became a spectacle. The tabloids called it the Charleston Affair. Every socialite in South Carolina had an opinion. Headlines paired her photo with words like tragic, depraved, fallen. The prosecution argued that Caroline's infidelity drove her husband to madness. The defense insisted Richard acted in self-defense. But in the end, the jury decided someone had to pay. 15 years. Manslaughter. They said she didn't pull the trigger, but she loaded it with her choices, her lies, her affair, from her prison cell. Caroline watched the seasons pass through a narrow slit of a window. She wrote letters to Richard, some filled with apologies, others with silence. I still see his face, Richard, every night. I wish I could hate you, but I can't. I wish you'd answer me, even if it's just to say you don't